Welcome to the Business Spotlight series. My name is Steve Chiama, and I'm the franchise owner for Action Coach in Fairfax, Virginia. And I'm your host today of the Business Spotlight podcast. And today I have the pleasure to introduce Rob Cranston, the president and CEO of Chiama LLC, as my guest. And today we're going to talk about Rob's business, his journey into business ownership, challenges, best practices, and share a peek into what it's really like to build and operate a business. So if this is your first time on the channel, be sure to like and subscribe to get notifications when a show like this one drops. Rob, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here. And if you would, please share a little bit of background about who you are and tell us a little bit about your business.
Yeah, Steve, great to see you. Love what you've put together here. And the spotlight interview, business spotlight interview, really showcases a need. I've watched several of your podcasts and really enjoy the different types of folks who have come on. My background is it goes back to I'm from St. Louis, Missouri originally, and out of there I had a very entrepreneurial family and as well as a military family. So the military side took precedent for me and in the pathway to early what would be design of of framing. Okay, hey, here's military career possibly, and I joined. I was very blessed to be selected for the Marine Officer Program. So I started in the Marine Corps. Had two tours and then went into a little bit transitioned into what was facility design, supply chain logistics, integration, two different companies. One was KBR, Halliburton at the time, and the other was Booz Allen Hamilton. Cut as far as the chops on building business and how to build business. I really appreciate the folks that I worked with in those organizations over time. And then about 17, gosh, this is our 17th year at Cana. Had a chance well, 17 years ago, start up this little organization, single member person, at $532 in the bank account. Steve, yeah, you just start. So
Yeah.
I said, okay, I think I can do this. And uh, sure enough, had a really out of the chute, very lucky UPS client that believed in me and helping with logistics integration. And
Mm.
so, yeah, and then fast forward, and I can bring this along in terms of our growth at Cana and where we are today. So we're in Northern Virginia. We have members throughout the country, and there's no way that Cana is what it is today without the beautiful minds and people inside Cana and the culture that we have created. So back over to you.
Fan- Fantastic. Fantastic. Let's cover a little bit of context for other people. How are you structured? People talk about solo ownership. You started
Mm,
solo.
mm.
They talk about partners. They talk about outside investors in various categories. How are you structured at this point?
Yeah, at this point, I think bringing it from initial single member startup venture, the place where and I never went down the venture capital route. It was always services based initially.
Hmm.
And again, single member LLC that then in design brought in a couple 1099 support that then mushroomed into what would be W-2s and the growth to W-2s. But Steve, going into that, it's such a rapid fire in
Hmm.
some cases where you're servicing client, and as you've mentioned on other podcasts, which is so true, wearing other hats, and wearing other hats is every hat, HR, your business development, your
Hmm.
execution with project management.
Hmm.
So as that matured, and as you can mature being, hey, service client and get a good product out, is that once that happens, then the reality truly becomes okay in scale. What does that mean incrementally from financials to process to making sure that in terms of growing, you're growing in a way that's balanced, but it's controlled. No one knows how to do that early on. I mean, that is just
Right.
you
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 learn.
you learn, bingo. Yeah.
Hmm.
So where we are today, we're still a limited liability company. Um, uh, uh, from a tax standpoint, it's a S corp. But
Hmm.
point is, though, is you're evolving as you go and continue to evolve in a
Hmm.
place where we're 50 plus members, W-2s inside Cana. And when you get to that level, the system, the process, all of that is continuously refined. And that's what
Yes.
I mean, we're trying. Well, the cool thing is because the company and our ethos is like being on the silver lining of different types of edge technology and analytics, logistics support systems. Notice I haven't said AI yet, but we are. We've been doing machine learning for a long time, and I'll get into that in a minute in theory of AI where it is, and but yeah. So, and I will say that hey, companies today, and we have to have an AI type of approach method internally and externally to make sure that you're legitimate in a way.
Right.
Yeah, that's where we are structurally, and we've in terms of how the company is, and we're set up on five different business units. We've got an analytics group, we've got a software development group, we've got a program management group, we've got a SME logistics integration logistics SME team, and then we've got a back office, which is a big part of the growth
Good.
curve of having and forming a back office that
Yeah.
really, as you know, huddles over and manages your HR, contracts, legal, and marketing,
Financial.
financial. Is exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. What hats do you wear at this point?
I'm a chief chaos officer.
Oh, good. Okay. Yeah.
That's where I sit today. No, so I sit over business development sales. That's
Hmm.
really the place where an owner goes and really has always been is in selling, like you mentioned, themselves and then
Hmm.
selling the product set. So I sit inside that place where it's the capture, business development, sales, and really the strategic design and development of the future and how
Got it.
that's going to move in investment. So
Got it. Cool. 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 Let's talk a little bit about the business itself from the point of view of who's your customer? Who do you serve best? Who's the target market? And is it one target market or several target markets?
the client the focus is on decision
Hmm.
makers that sit inside data and workflow design. So in other
Hmm.
words, it's complex, but whether that's from an engineering design or a supply chain design that has to be that has a lot of data coming off it,
Yep.
you structure that data and how that data is going to move and optimize in the operation. So that type of whoever manages that could be a warehouse manager, that could be a supply chain manager, that could be a analytics operations
Hmm.
manager, all the way up into the CAO, chief analytics, or chief technology officer type of
Got it.
chief operations. Yeah.
Cool. Cool. What makes you unique? If I was owning a business that had a major logistics process in it, why would I call you?
People.
What's
There
this?
is nothing in the sorry, Steve, exactly. People. We have we've queued up in our organization a group of people and professionals who have been on the edge of growth in different ways. Growth in the military, federal space, chops inside that world that are what are called kill chains and building kill chains inside that to operators that have been in major, large Fortune 500 companies kill chains, which are really what they are design chains and build out of growth within those organizations. So, what makes us unique is that building that, bringing that knowledge base together, and then having tools organically that we've either built or that we're using, software tools that we're fairly agnostic. And then we apply those to really, really, really tough problems
Okay.
inside supply chain logistics.
Very
And
good.
yeah, yeah,
Cool. Let's spin it around a little bit. Why really did you go into business for yourself?
there's a sense of unknown, but there's also the sense of purpose. And purpose is where you go, well, I know it's not immediate. I don't think, Steve, it's immediate for most. In other words, you've got to see something that isn't, perhaps it's broken and you know you can fix it and say, that's an idea, but there's simplicity to that. So I wanted to create and hover around the simplicity of a product or a service that could be applied.
Cool. So it was a creativity.
Very much.
Hmm. Okay. There's the biggest mountain over there. I'm going to go to the top.
And I'm going to bring a team to do that. And I think that's the part that you say, hey, bringing the team, and the disconnect perhaps also is that, boom, I'm up here like three-quarters of the way, and I'm like, all right, wait, where is everybody?
Yeah, I
Or
can't do
everybody's
this
on there.
myself.
You know,
Bingo.
yeah, yeah.
Very, very good. What would you say, and as you've gone down this journey, and you've gone quite a ways with this, you've scaled up, you've accomplished a lot. What would you say is a memorable challenge, a memorable hurdle you've had to take yourself across in order to get to where you're at this point?
So the conversion of services-based organizations into what becomes a productized, or what is a solution base,
Hmm.
Steve, I think we've talked about this before, is that, when you get the services by the people, and the way and the methods that you're applying that to problems. When you start building products, and maybe some of those products are coming out of some of the deliverables with some of
Hmm.
the clients, you're like, oh, and by the way, the government really wants you to come up with what's called a commercialization plan.
Hmm.
So here you're building a commercialization, kind of a way that, yeah, that's can apply to the commercial space, commercial market, out of perhaps a Department of Defense, Department of War type of effort. And sure enough, you the scale piece of bringing a product into the commercial space is one of the, and by the way, there's a great book out there called Productize. It's phenomenal. And Vectrosity is a company that I'm pitching them, because they bring it from design to a 5-phase rollout.
Hmm.
Uh, it's just, there's investment, investment, and investments.
Hmm.
What does that mean from different phases? And then, oh, by the way, Steve, you got to continuously have market evaluation and market demand signals to say, yeah, your product is or isn't what it's saying it's supposed to be in the market. So
Hmm.
I think that's where it's been, and has, and continues to be, not just a beautiful, good challenge, but one that you've just got to be able to prepare yourself for a lot of successful failures.
Well, what do they say? You got to fail your way to success?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that can be, you put that in a box, because you can only do that up until as much investment you have and
Hmm.
sales,
Hmm.
right? But yeah.
Yeah. And if you're bootstrapping it, that makes the game a little bit more dicey.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, you can do that, right? And we have, and really the professional wrap around that becomes sales, and
Hmm.
how you're going to invest in that velocity of, whether it's a SaaS product, which we have, or it's a e-commerce product, or other.
Good, 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 good. Let's play this around. And this is kind of a funny question in the nature of the work that you're in. If you look ahead 5, 10 years, where do you see it going? I mean, and I say it's a little bit tongue in cheek here,
Wait.
given AI and all of the other evolving things going on.
Well, Quaid, my AI robot, wherever he is. Yeah. So yeah, it's an exciting time. I think where we sit in this playground of, it really is, of understanding. I mentioned productize, but the next 5 to 10 years for us continues to look at ways of methods of application, and
Hmm.
we want to be the best in the world at applying certain methods that are, some have AI methods, there's analytics methods,
Hmm.
there's operational methods in the world of supply chain design, and that's where we want to be. And what market that's in, well, we sit comfortably, and our sweet spot is in the Department of Defense, but we've got several other projects in the commercial verticals that are moving forward.
Fantastic,
Yeah.
fantastic. What do you see as main challenges in that stage of the adventure?
So if we all kind of look at the Gartner model, right? If you look at Gartner, those phases of, and this is really into productization, and product roadmaps, the trough of disillusionment. I think there's the trough of disillusionment is this huge investment. Like right now, if I ask you, Steve, like, well, how do you value a company that calls itself an AI company? Well, right now, there aren't a whole lot of use cases yet.
Hmm.
I mean,
Hmm.
sustainable long-term use cases.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I think that the continued, the continued build out of how we're going to structure methods that specifically in Cana to operations, whether it's in manufacturing. We have a counter UAS in tool, which is really fascinating. Is that counter UAS tool going to have its responsible data logic coming in from an AI overlay? It's messy. AI is messy. I mean, it's great, but it's messy. And,
Hmm.
and we're going to need humans that are trained to be able to put it in a box.
Hmm.
Call it, all right, we're not going to let it hallucinate, whatever. But Steve, I think humans need humans, and that's the piece in the future. Just train humans to do just that and be really, really good at it and efficient.
Not that humans ever hallucinated.
No. Good point. Yeah, right.
Got to be honest about this stuff.
Right.
What do you see it doing for you personally as you begin to get through those challenges and be driving those directions?
Well, personally, it's my kids. I mean, I think if you and myself and growth of growing with them, because I get a really good feel. I have two in college, and I get a really good feel um, for how they're navigating problem solving using technology, and then our young members at Cana, who are just, I mean, they're phenomenal in the way that their logic is fitting into a very fast speed to delivery.
Hmm.
And that's another place by which, from a growth personally, taking that and really applying that to the whether it's with the frontier of Cana or with my kids, I can say, hey, my daughter's a wants to be a psych major, and it's an interesting IO, industrial operations. So she's like, how can I apply AI into that? Well, we're doing that together a little bit, and
There's a lot of room there.
a lot of room. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good one. On a personal level, if you started this business again today, based on all of the things you've learned, is there anything you would have done differently that jumps out at you?
It's the one line. Focus on one project, one market, one person.
Yeah,
It could be.
that's a
So
good one.
yeah, those are, that's the piece going back. I would say that um, doing that, you realize you refine yourself so much more as a product,
Yes. Get it,
and
get one thing done.
do it really, really well. I mean, not just well, knowing you did it well and knowing the
Yeah.
outputs of that, you can then scale. But that's yeah, it's something that I didn't do.
That's a good one. I like that one. That's missed by a lot of people. Yeah, good. We're, I think we could carry this conversation on all day, but we don't have all day. So as we head towards wrapping up, let's play with a few rapid fire questions.
Sure.
Um, what would you say is a key to success for you?
Being very open to criticism.
Mm.
You just as you continue to build,
Hmm.
you have more competition, more folks out there, and as you get your product out there, you,
Hmm.
you know you got to have thick skin and just know that. And with that thick skin, understand and listen to that. Listen, especially to guys like yourself who are out there who've done a lot of
Hmm.
transformation.
Hmm.
Really key in to what you hear as consistent themes, and
Hmm.
then so,
Very good. Awesome. Awesome. Let's pretend you and I were at the coffee shop chatting, and somebody came in talking about the business he was starting up. Is there one piece of advice you would share with him right now at this stage?
are you married? Um, yeah, the one piece of advice asking is, do you have a very sustainable relationship with your bank? And I think that's something that Steve a
Good.
lot of times over miss. I think you can go out and pick a lot of banks, but if you have it's a relation, it's a true
Yes, it is.
relationship.
Yeah.
And as you know, in terms of scale, I mentioned productization. We've self-invested on our working cap internally. We've never gone outside for any type of debt. And what we what the importance of although we have two banks that have created a relationship over the past 15 years.
Hmm.
So when it comes time to, hey, I need to, and right now in the government space and just in general in any vertical market, when you have a net terms on payables and that payable goes from 30 days to 60 days or 90 days that they haven't paid, there's a gap. So you've got to be able to cash flow yourself in a way that you understand the payback. It's okay to borrow against
Hmm.
that down and to work through those cash flows. So I would say that making sure that if that individual didn't have a bank to introduce them to some good bankers.
That is a really, really good piece of advice. And, if you think back just a little bit further, how many, how many economic bumps have we had that affect buying behavior? Um, it feels like to me over the decades that I've seen, there's a cycle about every 11 to 14 years. You got to be ready for those changes. And that doesn't even begin to, what happens when a new regulation comes in or a new regulation disappears and things change. Changes happen. You got to be prepared. And having a strong balance sheet and your point about the bank, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, and you bring in those on the business or on our side, the business operations team, Steve. You're bringing in professionals who have really have had those
Um,
multiple engagements. Boy, that then
they've
you're building a foundation.
seen different
Yeah.
things. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Good, good, good. You've mentioned one book. Is there any other book you're reading or have been reading recently that has really had a great impact on how you're doing what you're doing?
Yes, I love it. Recently it's interesting because Peter Thiel's in the news a lot.
Hmm.
And, when you look at really West Coast and Silicon Valley growth,
Mm.
um, 0 to 1 really defines his book 0 to 1 is a really good
Hmm.
understanding of venture to then going public. That book gives a good foundation for a leadership style that's very fast paced, and
Hmm.
it sits in a rhythm. And Thiel's an investor, and a lot of others investor in the current technologies and companies, big ones up and coming,
Hmm.
such as Anduril.
Mm.
So if you kind of connect the dots of some of these authors to what is kind of hot technology and happening, it's a good book to discover. The one that interesting is an old one, but I would say for your listeners and those out there, it's a book called Designed to Grow. It's how
Ah,
Coca-Cola learned how to scale, right?
yeah.
How to combine that scale and agility. And
Yes.
that's a really good one. I think that S&OP planning, you probably know sales and operational planning,
Yep.
production,
Yep.
meet sales goals, sales quota and goals, and how you manage that.
They all have to be synchronized.
100%.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. It's critical. Um, you've had an awesome journey. You've accomplished a lot. You've scaled this thing up pretty far. What accomplishment are you most proud of in this journey?
The accomplishment is watching your category of what is product. And I say product loosely in a way. It's powered by Kane Analytics as people.
Hmm.
See, I'm so proud of the people who have designed Cana to where it is today. I
Hmm.
created a roadmap. They filled in the real
Oh, good.
component of how to be good, really
Good way
good.
to put it. Good way to put it.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. following up, kind of flipping the question around, if you could if you had a magic wand and you could significantly improve something in your business this afternoon, what would it be?
Sales, Steve, sales. Gosh, I wish that I say wish, right? You can put a lot of money into sales. We
Hmm.
know that, right? But truly, if I could, right, as we grow, the sales component within Cana, there's the dual hat.
Hmm.
So if myself,
Hmm.
you centralize that into a place where there's um, there's a natural sequence across the markets we're in of
Hmm.
growth. So
Hmm.
yeah, I think eventually you realize you truly have to have that's a profession. That's a professional
It
group.
truly is. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it is. Well, business ownership is a profession
Yeah, that
that
too.
gets missed.
That's true.
Awesome. Awesome. Most important question. People who want to get in touch with you, how can they do that? What's the best way to connect with you?
www.canallc.com. Myself, R. Cranston at canallc.com. I could give a whole bunch of folks' name, Cana's name, but I won't. Come to me. Come talk to me. LinkedIn profile, Rob Cranston. We have a Cana Connection podcast, and I would encourage any of those members out there of yours to go check us out,
Absolutely.
and that would be a wrap on that. Yeah.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Last question.
Yes, sir.
What's most inspiring to you today?
Oh, the one back to that word, scale.
Yeah.
I think you see a scale AI, which just happens to be an accelerator, but you're watching generations that we have today alive that are scaling in ways that have never been done before, whether that's personal, whether that's in technology or embedded in technology. So I see that as being a very hopeful place. And it brings people, I mean, Steve, it brings people together. That's the
Yeah.
cool thing, right? Bringing that, again, humans together to talk about the scale, the problem, the growth. What coffee do you like? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, I mean, right. I mean, there's a personal side to that. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Let's go there together.
go there together. I like it.
There's an acronym that I like to use, taking the word team. Together, everyone achieves more.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's exactly the thinking process. How do
yeah.
we get there together? Yeah.
How do we do it together?
Fantastic. This has been awesome. This has been a great conversation. You shared some great stuff, and you brought it from a perspective of somebody who has scaled successfully and shown that there is a way to do it. And you can do it. You just have to go through the and accept there are challenges to solve. This is fantastic. Um, I encourage everybody watching to save the show, come back. Rob has shared some really good insights, and sometimes you need to listen to him once or twice to put it all together. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so that you can get notifications every time a new one like this drops. And thank you to everyone who joined us today. And a special thank you to Rob, who's shared his story, his vision, his opportunity, and the growth that he's achieved. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you, Steve. Thanks so much.